Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is B from Kongs R Us, and welcome to The Next Level. This is my weekly podcast show where we bring you next level things, guests, projects, community members, and today is Star Wars Day. Happy Star Wars Day, everybody. May the 4th be with you. If you're catching this on a replay, thanks so much for checking this out. We started this YouTube channel 3 years ago. It's been 3 years since I started this YouTube channel, and the reason why I started this YouTube channel in the first place was because I wanted to share my love for modding that guy. I think this was one of the things that really pushed me to start making content. And so every year on Star Wars Day, as I think about things to share, things to talk about, this has been something I've wanted to go back and visit. And along the way, I picked up a few friends. Along the way, I picked up a few folks that have asked me to help them with their dream Star Wars projects, and they saw my mod and I helped inspire them to get all creative. And I was like, holy crap, you guys are doing like way fancier things than I ever did. But all I did was help crack the code on, putting that flight stick or that yoke into a computer, and then created like a pretty cool playlist. I like to say that you can play tons of games on it. So again, if you're new to the channel, definitely check it out. It's my very first video. It's how to mod your Arcade1up to play more things, your Star Wars cabinets. I've done a lot of other tutorials since then, and but that one still holds a huge special place in my heart today. So I'm really happy to be here with folks. 19K Fox is here, Al's here, my good buddy Katie is here from Beyond Seattle Eats. We got to do another show. She's also, by the way, one of the best competitive eaters in the world. She competes in a Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Got to get you on the show sometime. All right. Hello. Mike is here, the bad guy. Mike Worley, Dan Z, Thor. Did I miss anybody? Atran Fanatic as well. All right. Distant Earth. Live long and prosper. You suck. Get out of here, man. All right. What's up, Super Metal Gamer, man? I know you're a former client too, man. I hope to see you on here pretty soon. Atran Fanatic found me with the Outrun unboxing. Yes, you came in a little bit after when I started doing my tutorials, before I started doing live streams. In fact, my very first live stream ever in the YouTube space was opening up a Glenn's Retro Show yoke live, because I was obsessed with finding out if that encoder board could add more buttons and that we can do more with that modded yoke. So I think I've told this story before for folks that maybe haven't heard it. When I first got my Arcade1up cabinet, Glenn's Retro Show had just released his Kickstarter about the yoke, the DRS flight yoke. And I was like, that's the solution. I need that to plug into a computer so I can play Star Wars Trilogy. That was my goal. I wanted to play Star Wars Trilogy, learn about BattlePod. And then I was like, oh, I ordered it, but it wasn't coming until like 6 months later. And like with the COVID delays and everything, it got delayed even further. So I was like, ugh. And then I found a channel, I forget which channel it was, that was showing how to potentially use an APAC encoder, which is an ultimate encoder that uses analog signals, where you can wire it up to plug into USB. So I was like, yes. So that was the inspiration to do it. Started sharing some Facebook posts, and that's how I got started. But anyways, Glenn's Retro Show yoke, when it came out, was the first time I ever did a live stream. And I was like, I don't know how to do a live stream. I'm trying to open up this little can, and talking and doing modding is really hard. I don't do it that often, but it's always been a passion of mine. And man, now I've been doing this show. This particular show is called The Next Level. The Next Level. I started this, oh my God, maybe 2.5 years ago. And my very first guest that I had, here, I'll even throw it on. Now we're superly branded The Next Level, right? It's right there. That's the show name. So I put this show together. Thank you guys for catching this live, so that I could always have a weekly topic to either share a project that I'm working on, talk to other cool guests. But my favorite part of this show series is bringing on people that do what I feel like are next level mods, things that like just blow your mind, that like, wow, it's super inspirational. My very first episode actually had a Star Wars cockpit builder. His name was Dags. You might see him in the content sometimes. Alan Dags has an amazing cockpit. But funny enough, over the years, I've worked with several cockpit builders over the years. So if you saw the thumbnail today, I'm excited to bring you another cockpit builder. And it's fun to see everybody's versions slightly different and unique. Angelo Russo is my guest today. I'm going to bring on just a second here. But from that, if you are in the chat like Super Metal Gamer Man, Euro has a great YouTube channel that's been taking my mod and doing extra next level stuff. Come on in. I'd love to hear from you. If you've done a mod with me, if you've taken your Star Wars to the next level with anything else, and you want to come on the channel at any point in time to share something that you did that's next level, let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the chat if you would love to come on the show. I love talking to guests. So that's just my little pitch to everybody. Billy Wright knows. Oh, and the people that's been enabling cockpit builders, for example, Billy Wright is the guy that's actually been selling cockpits to folks. So I have a cockpit that I bought from Billy that I haven't put together. So seeing Angelo's makes me jealous, but that's okay. All right, may the fourth be with you. All right, let's do it. No further ado. Let's bring him on. Angelo, what's going on, man? Good to see you.
Hi, B. Thanks for the invite. I
Yeah,
know it's
yeah.
short notice, but this is great.
Thanks. Yeah. So I appreciate you coming on. And we said cockpit, and like, look behind you. That looks
Let's,
amazing.
do you,
So good.
you like
Yeah.
my
That
mod? This is
that sit down
absolutely
Star Wars
wonderful.
cabinet is, when it first came out. I'm sorry, I wanted to leave some space, but you look fine. You're framed up perfectly.
Okay.
Do you, is that still modded at all? Is that stock? Tell me about that.
I picked this up. I
Okay.
found this on Facebook Marketplace, and it was a great price, like 400. And I'm like, okay, this is great. And then I started
Hmm.
looking around. I'm like, oh, hey, can I play more games on it than this?
Hmm.
And I think I found your channel when I was doing that, and I
Hmm.
saw your Starcade, and I was like, oh, that's pretty awesome. Let me start looking around and doing this kind of stuff. So I picked up the yoke. You got it on discount at the holiday discount. It was like 40% off. I think Black Friday.
Hmm.
So it was 120 bucks.
Hmm.
I picked up a few other parts and pieces. I've got some 20-inch monitors around here for the Dells. I was going to upgrade the screen, do a whole bunch of little projects
Hmm.
to it. And I thought, well, now I have all this stuff. And then I was continuing to look around and see what else I can do with it. And I came across retro recipes with Parafractics sandwich of the cockpit. Well,
Hmm.
I have to go to extremes whenever I do anything. And I took it to the next level and went out and bought plywood and parts and pieces. And Parafractic had all his list of items that he used to convert his Arcade1up into a cockpit. But
So these were
this
early builds of your cockpit build, and this was posted in February. So I was really impressed how fast you moved with all this. When did you start this project?
I believe I started it, I want to say late December, early January. It was just
Yeah.
after the holiday season. I picked
Okay.
up all the wood.
Okay.
I found this black furniture grade plywood
Yeah.
and four or five sheets, started printing out the templates. And I didn't have a plotter. I didn't have a V-carve machine or anything like that. So I just printed out 60 sheets of the template from
Okay.
Parafractic and taped it all together.
You
Made a
just went.
template.
So you went to town with this by hand. This is all hand
Yes.
cut.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So you
So
started.
that's
Wow.
coming off the truck there, yes.
All
So,
right, is that's the final build? All right, too fast. Let me
that
see if there's
yes,
other
too
build
fast.
pictures. All right, so we're going to here. Okay, so this was
S
based off of the perifractic one then, right? The one that's
eh,
kind of like modeled off of it. Okay.
yes, except, this is I wanted to have the full, uh, arch, the full cockpit.
Mhm.
It's, the pieces sandwiched together, one of those 3
Mhm.
pieces that had the whole, uh, uh, inlay of the graphics.
Mhm.
So I decided to continue on and print those pieces out. There's I believe it's a cabinet. I can't think of the name of it. Cabinet graphics. There's
Mhm.
I listed the site on my website, but they have like 90% of the template done for this to go ahead and print out a template or use
Mhm.
a carving program or tool, and I just kind of did it by hand.
Yeah, so
Not
you could get
necessarily
this
a woodworker.
CNC'd. I think there was like CNC shared designs, but the fact that you just built this so quickly by hand. So you have all the tools in your space. Do you build other cabinets like this? Like what type of carpentry experience do you have to be able to take on a project like this?
Not a lot. I had to go out and get a small table saw and a
Okay.
router and some other
Mhm.
tools. I constantly with projects like this, I build up my tool arsenal.
Yeah.
So
All right.
this was
So
just an excuse to go out and buy a few $100 worth of
okay,
tools
so
along
this
with.
is what it ended up looking like, almost complete. Like I see, like you have the bench there. So I mean, this came by so quickly in terms of you putting this together. Like I was just super impressed. So once
I
you
was
got
very
down
excited.
to, yeah, it sounded like it. So okay, here's some pictures of it finished, and then I'm gonna show off the video for it too.
All
But look,
right.
you went even further. Like talk about the back of this. So what's in the inside on the backside here? What are we looking at?
Okay, so you've got
Uh,
the 24-inch monitor and an
mm-hmm,
HP PC. It's a HP 580 Pavilion. Nothing
Mhm.
special. It has a GTX 1060 in it, so it wasn't anything special. I know MAME and emulators don't really require a big graphics card,
Mhm.
and so I get 16 gigs of RAM. Uh, but I built the custom shells.
Mhm.
I took I've got pedals in this, so for racing games,
Mhm.
I took R2, and I actually found him on eBay.
Yeah, talk about the
He's
R2. What does that do? Is that just there for
so
kicks?
it's there for fun, but he
Okay.
does make noises. He's the remote control version of the R2, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got I can push the button on the front of him, turn him on, and then use the controller to make sounds and stuff. He actually
Nice.
rolls
I
along the ground, does a bunch of
Yeah,
neat
yeah.
little
I think I
tricks.
have that too. I was thinking about somehow trying to make a custom topper for my Star Wars pinball machine using that one. So might have to ping you like so it's stationary though, but you could take it out. That's pretty freaking cool. I
Yeah,
love that.
I have to take that whole back, panel
Yeah.
off to take it out because I didn't
Yeah.
want it
All
to
right.
fall
So
out.
this is everything all lit up. I mean, so the control panel. Let's see some close-ups of the control panel. There's everything complete with the mod there. You can see the backside. You have a light up plexi on the backside. You went really deep. Okay, this control
Actually,
panel.
that hang on, back up to the Plexi.
All right, go ahead.
That Plexi is not Plexi, that's a 24-inch 22-inch, monitor, so it
Oh,
does
you have
change.
a monitor. So a second monitor in the back.
Yes. So it does
Oh,
change with the
okay.
games for the
Okay, so you
marquees.
have it set up in big box as like second monitor for marquee and everything too.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, so it's not Plexi. Excuse me. All right. He went even further. He went next level. He's adding more monitor. You're like Bobby Vu. He just loves adding second monitors to everything. All right. So, but this is what I wanted to show off because most people that do a cockpit build, they kind of stick with the traditional cockpit. This is not traditional at all. You made super multi-cade flight stick thing. Tell us what we got here. This is like the most intense cockpit setup that I've seen in a while. So go through
So, of
what
course, you got the Glen's yoke,
Mhm.
which was the heart of this
Mhm.
project, and that's all you really need. But I saw you put in some buttons for Star Wars Trilogy and the other
Mhm.
Star Wars games, as well as some of the other games that are in the Starcade. So I figured I'd throw a few extra buttons on there as well.
Mhm.
Custom made the front of the panel, so it's not actually sitting at the angle of a regular Star Wars cockpit.
Mhm.
It's down because I wanted to put the flight stick and uh, the throttle
The
in there
throttle, I mean, yeah.
for the battle pod or for
Mhm.
the Star Wars racer. So I wanted that in there. I wanted the joystick, the flight stick for Tron. So I figured I'd put the spinner in. So I got the spinner. I got this is all Glenn's stuff. Glenn's spinner, Glenn's the trackball. The trackball was actually supposed to be for my Tempest machine.
Oh, that's
Decided
a
now,
trackball down there. I was wondering what that was. So, wow, okay.
yes,
You have enough
that's
space for that? Are you hitting that yoke back part? It's, like, pretty tight though,
no,
right?
no. I
Yeah?
have that yoke sitting up about 6 inches.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's yeah,
Got it.
I've built a custom mount for it
Little
behind
mount
it. A
for it?
nice piece of wood that mounts on there. And then
Nice.
I came across the front, and I got a couple
Mhm.
more extra buttons on the front. I don't really have them all mapped or anything yet, and
Mhm.
I haven't
Yeah.
had a whole lot of time to enjoy this yet because as soon as I finish this, I started another project, which we'll get to later.
I know we can get to your other project later on, but okay, so this is just more pictures of when I saw this completed
Listen,
build. I just so you're so fast with it. So I mean, like, so most people, put this together and they start a project, but it just takes so long for them to come out and stuff. You got the lights, the buttons, even the artwork. Did you custom design the control panel artwork yourself and get it printed?
yes, I did.
Yeah.
I have a vinyl shop in town, and
Okay.
I'm pretty good in Photoshop. So I took the
Okay.
original control panel vinyl graphic into
Mhm.
Photoshop and kept printing out test prints to adjust the length and the size that I created the control panel with the wrapping around the front, and it even goes down underneath a little bit. So I extended the grooves and put extra parts and pieces in there for the flight stick and the throttle.
All
And
right.
uh, yeah, I took parts and pieces of. Oh,
Yeah, sorry, I'll turn that down just a
okay.
little so we can
No,
talk over it. But yeah, so this was Angelo's YouTube channel. He kind of just started with this one video, but it's already over at 10,000 views. This is pretty inspiring. So I mean, you can see it in action there. You can see my Starcade playlist as the main interface. So for folks that don't know, so how I got involved with this, I do sell my playlist that is customizable with the GRS yoke, and people can take that, put it in their own builds. But again, you've probably taken that base and then you remapped it to the throttle, the control panel, the pedals. How was that process of taking that and utilizing all the extra controls that you had to be able to get it working?
It can be tedious for certain games, but once
Mhm,
you get the feel for where the buttons are, it
mhm,
actually works out pretty easy.
mhm. So how many different joysticks do you have that it's recognized? I think that was my always issues that like having multiple joysticks recognized on the PC can sometimes mess with stuff. Like I always find that like the biggest mapping issues. Like crap, Windows reordered my stuff. Do you have that issue, or did you figure out a way to get everything set?
It hasn't reordered everything. I just keep everything plugged into the USB hub, and when it
Okay.
boots up, everything's in the right
So
spot.
do you
So
have just a regular generic arcade encoder for all the buttons?
I do have an APAC for the buttons,
Okay,
and then
got it.
the flight stick is a Thrustmaster
Mhm,
HOTAS 4, which
mhm,
I basically took from the nice encasing that it has,
mhm,
and basically cut it up with a Dremel tool and took it down to its bare minimum so I could mount it to that control panel underneath.
mhm,
And then what was nice is that actually had the plug-in for the pedals, so the
mhm,
Thrustmaster TP3M pedals,
mhm,
and it plugged right in there, so I didn't need the special adapter for that. I have probably 5 or 6 things plugged into the USB: the Thrustmaster,
mhm.
the GRS, uh,
Got
extra
everything, okay.
USB ports on the front. So there's
I saw
where
that,
that's
yeah, you made, like, a little, like, socket for that too on the right side, so you could
yes.
always do more controllers if you wanted to.
Well, and that's just it. I can bring up Super Mario and play with the actual USB Nintendo controller, Super Nintendo
Yeah.
controller.
So have you added more, like, games and things to the system?
Not to this one because of my other project. This one is
Okay,
just it's limited to the flight and
okay,
driving and those
got it.
those type of games that you put in there, which are really wonderful.
Yeah,
Uh,
cool.
you've got a good lineup in the Starcade.
Yeah.
I
How did
thank
you
you
map
for that.
out Battle Pod? Are you using the yoke or are you using the flight stick with the HOTAS?
Using the flight stick
Yeah?
and the throttle, so it does work really nice.
Yeah, so good. Alright, so check out Angelo's,
So it's
channel if you wanna see a full little, more demo of this. You also have another YouTube channel that covers lights, so do you wanna talk about that? Give us a
another extreme project I got into. I really am a cheapskate. However,
Mhm,
um, if you notice, I don't have a lot of stuff in here as far as like all the arcades like you have behind you for the
mhm,
Arcade1up. I kind of
mhm,
consolidate as best as I can into one. So I put all my money into this one unit rather than 6 other units for the
mhm,
Arcade1up, which I think they're great. I love them. That's what really gets people back into this whole nostalgia thing. And
mhm.
uh,
Holy
I'm
crap! This is your house?
yes, that's my house. So I get it. A couple years ago, I got into lights to music. So this is, I think this one's probably about 20,000 lights on the house there. And
Wow! Do you have to do any, like, custom programming for this? Like, what is the base to be able to, like, get this all,
there's a
working together?
there's a free program called X Lights, and it's
Okay,
developed by programmers in Australia. Really wonderful guys. We
okay.
have conventions every year for the lighting community and Christmas and Halloween decorating, and there's
Mhm.
a whole big community out there for this. But it is an expensive hobby.
Do you compete? Is there, like, a competition for this at all, or is
No,
this just for fun?
no, not really, unless there's a local competition in your area for
I
your
see. I
city,
mean,
county, or whatever.
it's
But
just
this
to
is this
win
is
at
just fun. This is just fun for me. I
yeah, I mean,
enjoy
you
putting on
win at life.
displays.
Look at that, like, this is life goals here to be able to have Christmas lights. Alright, so this is just one example of it, 'cause do you have a favorite on here that you really enjoy the most?
Uh, Thunderstruck is good, but the volume is low because of YouTube copyright, so I had to put it
Mhm.
really low.
Yeah,
There's I love them all. They've come out really
they
nice.
all
Um, I have everything from
okay.
Christmas to
Oh.
just there's Purple Rain. There's
So each year, like, you actually have different setups with the same different songs. So it's not just like one setup for the year. You actually change it out every day or what?
but there's I actually have anywhere between 30 and 50 songs playing for the holiday. So
Oh, so
it's
like
in a rotation,
so
two to
people
3
can
hour
come by, they'll
rotation.
see something different each time.
Yes. So
Wow.
so
Okay.
and people actually sit for the whole 3 hours for the
Just
show.
to watch it.
It's
Do you ever create like traffic jams at your place?
thankfully no. I'm in the middle of kind of nowhere here, so it's a small
Okay.
town of about 15,000. So unless
Okay.
they're coming from from out of town.
All
I'm
right.
not really too bad. I'm not like in Fort Lauderdale or some real high
Got
end
it.
city.
All right. Well, lights on Thunder Road if you happen to be around. This is really freaking cool. I'm gonna check out more of these. So you've been doing this. I mean, the videos go back to 2020, but like, when did you start
S-
this? Have you been doing this for a
uh,
while?
2019, I
2019.
picked
Okay.
it up and started learning it, and I
Okay.
had about 8,000 lights in my first show, and
All
this
right.
this year I will have 50,000 lights in the show.
Oh my goodness.
A-
And is
And,
it?
and it's really it's small compared to some of the other guys that have about
Uh-huh.
2 to 300,000 lights in in their show. But it's all how you lay it out, and you sync it to the music and your
Yeah.
presentation. So this was a little one that I created for the Hershey Kiss.
Uh-huh.
It's not holidays until you see this commercial. So
Yeah. It's cool. It's very freaking cool. I appreciate you like sharing this a little bit. Like, I just like to geek out and see next level things, whatever the portion is. I just know it takes a ton of work into this. All right, so we've shown some of the videos. I think I would really love to see your cockpit in person. You said you can
okay,
take us out and show
yeah,
us a little bit. I can make you a little bit bigger. And
yeah.
yeah, show me some more of the guts of this. Like, have you done anything else to it since those videos?
No, actually, I waited till the end to complete the video. Sorry,
Mhm.
I'm using a laptop here, so
Oh,
I
no
don't
worries.
have great control over the camera. But I did, of course, you got to put in a cushion seat because this is
Mhm.
extremely hard to sit on for hours on end
Mhm.
playing your game here. I did again took liberties with not only the control panel, but also made a little storage compartment under here. So I have all my. I'm making sure I'm in screen here. The my subwoofer's under here, so you're shaking the
Nice. We can
seats.
feel that rumble.
I actually have the volume control. That's right over here with the
Okay.
light up
Oh, nice,
LED
nice. So
here.
you have very
So
accessible too. Very good, very
yes,
good.
I can hook up a headset if everybody's asleep. I can kind of be out here playing my games. I do have, like I said, the controllers for the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo. These are all USB controllers. I forget who
Mhm.
makes these. It says Next on it, but I have these controllers. I have my GameCube controllers in here, so I can actually, if I didn't want to use the yoke or the flight stick, I can use all the controls that I have in here. So I did try to keep it as close to original as possible with the
Mhm.
speakers. This is just kind of some mesh. All this is painted. All uh, the T molding. This was the big hardest thing to install. Was all this T molding. There's quite a bit. Uh, oh, can you see that?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
that's a little
Yeah, yeah.
dark up there.
Yeah,
Can you?
it's a little
Okay,
bit dark. Okay.
okay. So um, of course, the biggest thing I wanted was the inlays here. So I
Mhm.
wanted this three piece. It was actually three pieces, 3/4 inch plywood here that
Mhm.
that make this. You got the front one, and then you got the cutouts to the second one, and the third one actually holds the plexiglass on.
Did
So,
you have to paint everything by hand? Just
uh, well, I did add an extra coat of paint. It was black furniture grade, but it did
okay.
get scratched up as I cut it. This right here would actually be plywood color.
Mhm.
So I did paint that, and you can actually see the ridges of the plywood. So you definitely
Mhm.
don't necessarily want to use the plywood
Hello.
if you want it nice and smooth. Oh, sorry, that's my wife.
You're on YouTube. Hello.
She's like, hey, I'm gonna take a picture there. But in
Yeah.
the back here, like I said, I don't have
Oh,
it turned on
yeah.
right here. Let's actually turn this on. So up
Okay.
here, up there, that red button.
That's the power switch for everything?
Yes,
Yeah.
it turns
Okay.
everything on. So, and then
Alright.
lights up. It takes about 15, 20 seconds to load up.
Yeah, so while that's
Put
loading
this
up, the
back on.
plexiglass, like, how I think that's the thing that also if I'm gonna build a cockpit, like, what's the process to get that molded?
Well, this was my first attempt. I probably will take another attempt in the future. It's not 100% perfect, but
Mhm.
this you can kind of see a little bit of
A little
warp.
bulge, yeah.
But, yeah, but I took this. I got this plexi from Amazon. Two pieces of it.
Mhm,
I cut two different lengths, and
mhm.
then I just took a heat gun back
Just
and
heat gun,
forth.
bent it
Back
into
and
shape?
forth. Yep, took the heat
Yeah.
gun. I had a piece of wood behind it, so
Mhm,
as it was heating up, I had it locked in here. As it was heating up, I bent it over because I have different curves than the original, so I couldn't go by the original schematics of the plexiglass. So I
yeah.
kind of had to made it a little custom. I think it
Yeah.
came out pretty good, especially for the first time. So I'm not complaining about it. It actually it completes the whole cockpit.
Oh,
So
absolutely, yeah, I think the top part is always, like, the worries me about, like, I have the sandwich, but that Plex. It's like driving in a Tesla. You're like, "Oh, cool, I can see everything now." And then the
Uh,
LED strips on the top, is that like I mean, you synced up to Christmas lights. Does
the-
that sync up to anything or no?
it doesn't, no, but these are controlled by my phone, so I can turn these on,
Ah,
and
okay.
also the one for uh, the pedals. So I've got
Ah.
some under there for the pedals to light things up
Now
on.
that I've seen the house, I'm a little disappointed you didn't sync up sounds to everything, so
Well, let's do this. I do have my Christmas tree.
it's still Christmas time right now in the Naruto household?
The
Yeah,
tree never comes down.
the tree never comes down. Ah, I
No,
love it. Christmas all
so
year round. That is
year round.
cool. Alright.
So let me close that.
That's
So oops. Now let me turn that down.
oh, yeah. That's the sound.
Eh,
That's the music. That's
Yes,
the
there you go.
intro. I see
I
some
told
counterpoint. Okay.
I did tell the um, Launchbox not to update, but apparently it ended up updating anyway. So I was doing that for a
Okay.
second.
That should be fine. Yeah, as long as you
So
have the it shouldn't impact the playlist at all. But yeah, there it is, the Starcade playlist 2.0. I recognize that. Man, I made that like almost 2 years ago. I'm hoping maybe I can do a 3.0 and then, get some other games that I've discovered since then to get running on there, but it's been a while. I do hope to upgrade it at some point in time, but it's so cool to see, just me being as a part of this project, right? Because I don't think I would ever have the carpentry skills and things to do this. I did get with Billy Wright. So you might have seen him in the chat. He actually does offer kind of kits to be able to make your own cockpit. He makes versions that are the original. And then for me, I also have an etched version design of the Star Wars graphic on it where I don't need to have the graphics on it. But seeing your cockpit, it looks so beautiful. It just makes me want to like just
thank you.
do it as I can.
What I do want to I want to add to your Starcade
Mhm.
is our games for the spinner and the
Spinner and
trackball.
trackball. Yeah.
Yes, so Arkanoid
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
plenty of games like that to play with
Yeah.
those. So I'm
Well,
I'm working on that.
if
If you
you need
can
a
help me
base,
work.
I have so my Tron mod behind me. I'll just switch really quick so you can see me. So my Tron mod, I haven't really done a showcase on this, but I built a playlist specifically for the spinner and flight stick combo for Tron. So that could be something that could work. And then for trackball games, my trackball only arcade that has a trackball that's modded is my At Games Legends pinball machine with the trackball. So I have a trackball playlist on that, but it's not anything fancy in terms of a UI. But the Tron one might be a good place for you to be able to start off with something. So
Tron is
yeah,
definitely one I want to have in my
yeah.
collection. I
At
have
some
the,
point,
the Tempest. I did the mod
yeah,
for the light up mod.
yeah,
That
yeah, yeah.
came out really
Pinball mod.
nice.
Very
And then
cool. Look at that. Very
but
cool. What's up? What else you got? I saw some other countercades, some other things you got
oh
in this.
yes, so yeah, I got the Galaga. This is
Mm-hmm.
one of those that was on clearance from
Mm-hmm.
Walmart at one time for $50. I love Galaga.
Mm-hmm.
Galaga is one of my favorites.
Yeah. And is that a
But
real Playboy machine or is that a virtual pinball?
that's virtual pinball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
this was 9 years ago. I put this together.
The V pin? Yeah.
Yes, I actually used
Yeah.
to help in the pinball community with the virtual pinball when it
Oh.
first came out back in the late
Mhm.
1990s, early 2000s. I was doing a lot for creating tables, and I mean this is early on. It's nothing like it was today with all
Like
the
future
LCDs and everything.
pinball,
Yeah,
like VPX stuff or?
VPX, Future Pinball was out when I was in the scene, but I didn't work on any of that.
Uh-huh.
Somebody had come out with the virtual pinball, which was really nice.
Mhm.
And it was just on CRT screens at the time. It was just nothing fancy. It was just it was kind of angled on the screen, and you
Yeah.
could see it like a pinball with your little side art. So we would just kind of create the tables, and I would host them out there, and people would it took off really crazy. And I was hosting a forum for a while, uh,
Yeah.
VP
Cool.
forums. So I
VP4, that was you?
yes,
You're hosting,
that was
okay.
that
That was you.
originally yes. I think if people knew it was me at this
Uh-huh.
point, they'd probably be a little upset because at the time I went through some family issues and kind of abandoned the scene. And
Yeah, yeah, I think I remember when that happened a few years
yeah,
ago. So,
so
but,
that was
okay. So I won't rat you out. I won't say anything, but I
hey,
will
I've read it
say,
myself
hey,
out. It's
hey,
okay.
but I will say, thank you though. I really d just I did not even knowing that, I know how much work behind the scenes, like, the virtual pinball community and that hobby takes, and, like, it's a lot of unsung heroes that never get a thank you. So I just wanna say thank you for, the time you put into that. Because when I was starting up my VPin builds, it was hard to find original authors and people that kept those sites going. So it's cool. I'm glad that we got to connect in. So at least I can give you a genuine thank you for that. That's wonderful.
I had fun doing it, and
Hmm.
it was really sad when I had to leave the scene. But
Yeah.
I'm glad people took over. There were a lot of good people out
Hmm.
there, and they did take over. Even with some of the mess ups I did with the domain name and all that type of stuff, they got it back, and
Yeah.
they really brought it back well.
Cool.
Oh, um,
Nice. All right. So
try.
what else in the cockpit then? Just like last thing before. I mean, oh my goodness. Yeah. So what is that before I get back to the
Uh,
cockpit? What is that?
okay, so this is my Star Wars crawl.
You're
So
what?
this
You have
is
a crawler? Okay.
yes, I do have a crawler now. It's just vinyl,
Okay.
but I saw on one of the website they had the Oriental Trader. They had the rugs that had the crawl. So I was going to try
Hmm.
and put one in front of the arcade machine,
Hmm.
but they didn't have episode 4. They
Hmm.
only had 5 and 6. So I decided to make my own
Make your own.
and try to figure out, maybe I'll put it on a yoga mat, maybe I'll do something. So, but I haven't really decided what I wanted to do with it yet. So
Nice.
I hung it up for the show
It's kind of
today,
like
so
a
you can see
poster. All
it.
right. All right. I'm
Yes.
expecting you to put it like on a little reel so that it actually like crawls up and like repeats itself in the background. So
Okay, well, we'll start up here. Good angle. Good,
yeah.
good angle there. Okay, there
Yeah,
we go.
yeah, yeah. It's good. It's a period of civil war.
Okay.
All right, back to the
So
cockpit. I know you got a helmet there. Cool. Did you build that or is that just a regular cockpit or a
no, this
helmet?
is from Galaxy's Edge
You
at
got like, oh, okay. Very cool. That sounds
Disney.
fun.
I'm about an hour away from Disney, so
Oh,
I
okay.
again, I'm a cheapskate. I didn't want to spend 120 or more on a Black
Uh,
Series, so I knew
mhm.
they had these at Disney, and they were $70. So I was
Yeah.
like, hey, it is what it is, and it looks identical to the Black Series. I think Black Series just comes in a nice box with a little holder.
Yeah.
This has the sounds in it. It might be a little uh, lighter plastic on it, but
Mhm.
it fits well, and it's fun to be a part of when you're playing the game. You want to just be a total nerd and throw it on there.
Do you wear it when you're in the cockpit and you
I
put it
do,
on?
yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. We got to see a picture with you later on. Like, I'll expect that in the Facebook group. You with the cockpit helmet on, and then there's the R2D2 right there too. Look
Yeah,
at you.
so
You're just a
got
big boy with your toys,
oh,
just
I
having
got all my
fun.
toys. I gotta have
Yeah.
fun. So
Yeah.
this is the remote controller for the
Yes.
R2,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
and I
So
really
good.
can't do much with it because he
It's
moves around all on the
mhm,
ground, and
yeah.
he's stationary here. But what I can
Yeah.
do
All
is
right. So
reach in the front and
it
hit it.
turns on. Oh yeah.
Yes, so
That's so
turn him
cool. Good
on.
Good job, man. So do
So
other people ever enjoy this besides you? Have you gotten other people to enjoy it? You said you haven't enjoyed it much yourself. Have friends come over? Does your wife play it? Like, or is it just like your little
I
man
have some
cave nerd
friends
stuff?
that are also into Christmas lighting. They're
Mhm,
nearby, and they come
mhm,
down. They're from Canada. Great people.
mhm.
Um, and when they're here, their son
They're
loves
there.
it. They yeah, so
Check it
their
out.
son comes over, plays it all the time.
That's super
And
cool. All right, my question
it,
for you. Okay, so
okay,
the playlist has a ton of games on there. What's your go-to game when you turn it on?
the original Star Wars arcade. It's got to be
Still,
on this.
still
Yes,
Star Wars
yes.
Arcade, even after everything, you're still playing original Star Wars on there. That's still number
The
one right there. Yeah,
trilogy is fun. I
yeah,
very much enjoy the
yeah.
trilogy by Sega, but
Hmm.
I definitely jump on the original because it's an original cockpit.
Yeah,
Can't not
absolutely.
play it.
That's true.
So, so
This is
this is
true.
my little Tie Fighter speaker, one of the Bluetooth speakers. This is something I
Okay.
got a long time ago. This is one of those iHome devices.
Yeah, yeah.
Just neat little stuff to accent and have a little fun with this thing. And then of
I'm
course my lightsaber, which is
Oh,
that
I didn't even
I
see that.
oh
Nice.
you you didn't see it in the video?
Smart.
Let's turn that
Yeah, I
on.
got okay. Oh, there you
Okay.
go. I
So yeah,
see. Very
yeah.
nice.
So
Very nice.
this is I think it was a Black Series,
Yeah, I
which
do like my lightsabers. I have several of them on the wall, but having it mounted next to the cockpit is like so genius. There it is. So smart.
oops, let me turn that off.
Yeah.
And then of course I got the cheapo ones. I think these are or like the $30 ones from
For you to fight yourself when you're in there.
yeah, they make all the
Yeah.
noises. They
Yeah.
yeah, they're just little fun stuff.
Very good.
So just a comparison of the size of that
Yeah.
to the size of the original or
Yeah, so I mean,
the
I can't
arcade
believe you
one up.
still have that little thing. Is that just for kicks, for inspiration? Like, I know we started with the Arcade1up one, but
I know
is
somebody wanted to buy it for me,
okay.
and he's still contemplating it. So we'll see. but
Okay.
right now I didn't know what to do with it, so I still have it here.
All
Just
right.
uh, I don't play it because I have everything
Obviously, you have the big
on that
one.
machine. So.
Okay, so you alluded that you had another project in the works, and I think people are very excited to see potentially. So yeah, I for myself, and I'll just make myself big really fast so you can see it while he's moving over there. I created my own Star Wars trilogy cabinet based off of a Gen 1 cabinet. So this cabinet, it was just kind of like I've always loved that Sega Star Wars trilogy. That was my Star Wars arcade when I was growing up because the cockpit in the original arcade with the yoke, it was cool, but I never really got to play it much in the arcade itself. It actually came out, right around time I was born, and I was born 1983, so that's when the cockpit and everything was coming out. So Star Wars Trilogy was my main game. That's the reason why I wanted to even mod it in the first place. So I made my own version of Star Wars Trilogy. It's always been a dream to own that version of the cabinet. I made my own. I put in my own HAP flight stick into this as well, and so it's using a real HAP joystick like the original one. Has buttons, the two buttons, and that was kind of like even the inspiration to have the big red buttons on the control panel. Was that's what Star Wars Trilogy looked like. All right, and so after I made this, Angelo's like, I'm gonna just do one better. I'm just gonna find an original cabinet and mod that one. So all right, so what's the next project you got going on?
So that's what I did. We were
Yeah.
on a cruise. I
Mm-hmm.
found on Facebook Marketplace a Star Wars trilogy cabinet. Somebody had one in Orlando. It was broken. The boards weren't working,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and he had it listed out there. So I sent him a text. He's like, "Oh, somebody said they'd be coming. It'd be about 2 weeks. He'll come and get it." Well, we were still on the cruise, so it didn't matter. So I was like, "Hey, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If not, whatever." So I think the guy fell through twice, and then he turned around and said, "Hey, if you want it, come get it." So I went and got the Star Wars trilogy sit down deluxe version of the
Oh,
game. Let me see.
it's like the projector version style, right? Like
Yes,
it's kind
yes.
of two
So this
separate
did have
pieces.
a projector screen in it,
Uh-huh.
but of course it died a long time ago. This is
Yeah.
25 years old.
Okay.
So what it did have in it was a 40-inch LCD screen.
Okay.
And again, for me, that's too small. I got to fit every square inch I can
So what'd you put inside?
of
How
a
big is
TV
that
in
screen
here.
now?
So this is a 46-inch.
Okay.
Originally, it's a 50-inch rear
Okay.
projection, but this
Yeah.
is a 46-inch LCD.
Mhm.
Actually, decased it,
Mhm.
cut cut it to as close as I could to all the components,
Mhm.
and literally behind this frame, I can't fit a piece of paper in between
Mhm.
the TV
Mhm.
and the frame.
Yeah.
So this is
As tight
I
as
was
it
going to hit
goes.
as high as
46
it goes. I
inches.
made a well used its stand, cut it up with the angle grinder,
Mhm.
and have it sit on its stand behind here, and it's
Mhm.
kind of the glass keeps it where it is, and I did mount it down here. But up here, I have a Wii sensor bar because I have all my
Like your consoles. This is
consoles
gonna
that
become
I'm
your
going to put under here.
multi-cade slash console-cade.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then of course I have a couple of control panels, and the one I wanted to use was the Legends Gamer
Oh, you
Pro.
have a Legends freaking gamer. Is that the Gamer Pro? Or
This
is
is
that
the
the
Gamer Pro.
ALU? Okay.
This is the Gamer Pro. Now,
Okay.
I keep looking at the ALU, but it's
Uh-huh.
I had this, so I'm like, let me use this. Well, I've
Yeah.
modified this a little bit too. I've got Glenn's 4-way to 8-way
Oh, yeah,
joystick
yeah.
converter,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
and it's on both joysticks, so I can
Uh-huh.
control it from there. And then
Smart.
I don't know what games I really play with 8 buttons, so I decided to put a spinner in here too.
Okay.
So
I was curious
I
about
can
the spinner. I was like, that's why I was like, is that a gamer? Because the original one
no,
had spinner. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. The original had spinners like down
Mhm.
here,
Yeah.
so I just took out one of the buttons and put the spinner in.
Okay.
And so I've
Yeah.
basically cleaned this thing up. This thing was torn down to its bare metal
Mhm.
because 25 years of in service out in the on the routes. This thing was filthy, rusty, cruddy. I can't imagine how much crap I pulled out of this thing. But I did. I got a couple of tokens and some free games and tickets and stuff like that from wherever places that it had been. So
Yeah.
I basically tore it down, cleaned it up. I took out the tubes that were in here. They had fluorescent
Mhm.
tubes, and put LED lighting in so I can light it up. I left my phone in the other room, otherwise I could turn it
So
on.
this is eventually gonna be just like your main multi-cade, but in the shell of a Star Wars trilogy cabinet.
Right, and I thought, what better way to accent
Uh,
the uh,
Cockpit?
the cockpit
Yeah.
So
But if you can't play our actual Star Wars trilogy on the Star Wars trilogy cabinet, doesn't that make you a little sad? Like, are you gonna try to get it set up a little bit where you
I've
could?
I've got it on the other one. That's why I got those big red buttons on the
You do.
cockpit. I can
You have
play
the
it
big
there.
red buttons, the HOTAS over there. At first when you were doing this, I thought you were going to, because like what I did with that multi-cade was I made it a flight stick, but I made games that work more with the flight stick kind of just fit
Mhm.
that cabinet. And I want to pare down my yoke version of the cab eventually too. So like part of me was like, oh, it's such a beautiful cabinet, but you don't have the marquee game on your multi-cade. Um, I maybe you just do version where you can play with the joystick or something. That would
Well,
make me happy.
this also, does have the topper,
Oh,
which I'm
yes,
trying.
that angle
Oh, there.
toppers, like
Yeah.
that marquee
Yes.
topper design is like
Yes.
the
So
most marquee thing about Trilogy.
I have the
Yes.
marquee back
Oh
here. I
my
was
goodness.
cleaning it up and
So
cleaning up the
good.
topper to put back
Yeah,
on top. And put some LED
so
lighting in
good.
there and
You
light it
have
up.
to find a way to be able to actually play Trilogy on that machine.
I'll figure it out.
Something.
If it's not big red buttons, it'll be small black buttons, but I can probably
Something,
still play
something. Just
it.
to be able to be like, you put the time into it. Yeah, I mean, a multi-kits are great. I love it. Like, I have a Star. By the way, so the next thing you'll get, and if you live closer to me, I would have just given it to you. I have a Star Wars pod racer, like
Do you
in my
really?
in my garage. But again, the board's not working, and so part of me was just like, I'm just gonna gut it and use it. I just want to sit in the pod and then play my racing games, right? And so I think that would have been that would be like completing your collection. You have a cockpit, then you have the trilogy, then you can get a pod racer. I think that's your next
Uh,
project, man. You can
I,
find
I would
broken
lo-
pods.
I would love the battle pod, but that ain't happening.
Yeah. Oh,
15
not the
grand
big
for
one,
that
the pod
thing.
racer, like the
No, no, I know you have the pod racer, but
oh
the
yeah, yeah.
battle
But you
pod
want
would
a
just
pod?
be
You want a
amazing.
full battle pod? You think that you would build one, or you would get one?
No, only because of the screen in it. The
Yeah,
screen would be impossible to really
yeah. To redo, I
make.
think
So
I
if I
need.
got it, it would have to be working
Mhm.
and intact
Yeah,
to actually enjoy the game.
absolutely. All right. Well, this has been super fun to chat with you and get to see your cockpit a little bit more detail. I know we started off just as like, hey, can you help me with my Star Wars build? And I thought it was gonna be like a vaporware project. When you told me a little bit about what you're doing, and then the speed at which you completed it was like, wow, this guy really completed it fast. So, I'm honored to have been part of your project. Anybody that's built a cockpit. My dream, by the way, I'd love to have you back on another show at some point is to get everybody who's ever done a cockpit build and put my build in it to have them on the same show. I just wanted to see
That would
like
be cool.
everybody's cockpits that I know of at least 7 or 8 people that have made cockpits. I think that'd be really fun to just see everybody's versions because everybody's is slightly different. Yours is very unique, right? Everything that you did. Some people like it exactly just original, but most people, funny enough, once they build a cockpit and they've done that effort, they're like, I just don't want it to play one game. They want it to do more stuff. So that's why they'll reach out if you took the time to play more. So it's interesting.
That's
Everybody's
what took me down the rabbit hole.
it did. It did. Well, cool.
But
Let
but
us know in
but
the
see,
chat.
the only downfall about this,
Mhm.
it's got no arcade sticks in it. So that's
It's
why I
true.
have to have the other
Mhm.
unit.
It's
So
true.
that's
Yeah.
if I have to say there's a downfall to the cockpit,
Mhm.
that's the only thing I
But
can
you
think
could
of.
play so many games with the yoke, though. I mean, that
Oh
that
yeah,
controller is like just one of the most amazing types
no,
of
try
controllers that gets you a lot of stuff.
it won't work well with
Street Fighter,
Galaga,
yeah, or
Pac-Man,
Galaga,
just
yeah.
Pac-Man. Yeah, the
All right.
classic 60.
Classic 60 stuff. Well, let us know in the chat if you have any final questions for Angelo. Thank you so much for coming on to the show. Be happy to have you back on a future time if you finish that Star Wars trilogy project and we get it, nicely bright. We'll invite you back onto the Super Show. But other than
All
that,
right.
thanks, Rance. Happy
Thank you,
Star
everyone.
Wars Day, everybody. May the 4th be with you. It's been fun. I think anybody that's watching this now, you're going to get redirected over to the folks at Game Time who's doing a nice little fun show. Have you followed any other the Arcade1up stuff, or are you mostly just done with kind of the classic games that you have currently?
Am I done buying Arcade1ups?
Yeah,
Is that what
yeah.
I have two more in a box. They're the not the countercades, the party cades.
Party cades.
What?
Got it.
Yes. So I found them on a deal, and I'm like, I'm always looking on Facebook Marketplace if a
Yeah.
what is it the Galaga and Miss Pac-Man, the
Mhm.
Class
Class
81
of 81.
comes up at a decent price. I might get
That's
it just
that's for
again for
you. Got it.
aesthetics. Yeah, I can play it on the other machine, but
You
just the
could.
aesthetics. But
All
I
right,
really I can't get a lot more in here, so this is a small room.
you're a little tight. You gotta, and eventually that trilogy is gonna come into the room that you're in right
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Yes. Probably
Okay.
right where I'm sitting here.
Got it. Well, good luck to that. Stringer Films, thanks so much for the $2 super chat. Says his cockpit is original with the PCB and the GRS yoke. That sounds awesome, Stringer. You know what's even more awesome? Put a PC in it with the GRS yoke, and then we can talk, and then you'll have much more fun in your cockpit. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So, all right, that's it for this
Thank you so
show.
much.
If you want to hang out backstage afterwards, we can chat. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks, everybody. Bye.